The 5 most public plays for this Sunday in the NFL, Week 12, coming up right now with analysis free for you in this video. Hi, this is Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com, right back here on WagerTalk TV with your NFL Fade the Public video for Week 12, Sunday, November the 24th. And you know the public was crushing it in October, going 18-6. Came back down to earth a little bit the first couple weeks of November. They actually had a 3-1 week last week on the top plays, 3-2 overall if you include the additional lean. Overall, now in November, the public has gone 8-7 the last 3 weeks. So they're starting to cool off, it looks like. So the question becomes, do we start fading them? Well, I've got 5 public plays, actually 3 official public plays, 3 very public sides, also 2 additional leans. And keep in mind, later in the season, second half of the season, fading the public does normally start to work better. When I started this video series 4 years ago, we went 31-8 from this point on through the Super Bowl. Well, I'm not going to say just blindly fade the public this week because we've got 5 ugly dogs to talk about. Let's dig a little bit deeper, though, and see if we can maybe find some reasons in each of these games. First of all, let's look at the most public play this week in Week 12, and that is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers minus the 6 points. Tampa Bay, of course, at the New York Giants. Look-ahead line within the last week. You know, many books actually put a look-ahead line up last week. It was -3. It is now -6. This is one of those reasons that fading the public starts to work better later in the season because we get line value. And on the surface, might seem a little strange to see a team that's gone 0-4 straight up, 1-5 straight up their last 6. In fact, Tampa Bay's only won 1 game since September, laying 6 points, and they're the most public side this week. And that, of course, is because the public wants nothing to do with the New York Giants. Tampa's lost 4 in a row. Giants have lost 5 in a row, both straight up and against the spread. They've been a huge money burner. But once again, this point spread has definitely been adjusted because of it. Line was 3 a week ago. Both teams lost, and now it's -6. Hard for me to make a case for the Giants other than saying you're getting some line value. However, there is one catalyst perhaps, actually 2 catalysts with the Giants. First of all, they're coming off a bye week, so they do have the extra week to prepare. And the 3 weeks before the bye, it does look like their running game is getting going finally. They've had 157 rushing yards or more in each of their past 3 games. Despite going 0-3 straight up in ATS, they've had 150-plus rushing yards each time, and they've all been narrow losses. 8-point loss at Pittsburgh on Monday night, 5-point loss against not my Washington Commanders. And, of course, we had the Giants +4 as a play in that game. 2 missed 2-point conversions down the stretch. They just kicked each extra point. They would have lost by 3 instead of 5. And then, of course, last week, or 2 weeks ago, rather, they lost by only 3 against Carolina. They were a favorite, but that was overseas in Germany. Kind of a weird game. I don't usually touch those European games. So, could make an argument this is a good spot for New York. Off the bye week, the running game has gotten going, which takes some pressure off that awful quarterback play and awful passing game. And once again, do you really want to lay 6 points with an 0-4, 1-5 straight-up Bucs team? Once again, hard to make a case for ugly dogs like the Giants, but there are a couple catalysts there with the bye week in the rushing game, and that line was 3 a week ago. Now the Giants are +6. That's the most public play, Tampa Bay, and if you're looking to fade them, you would be on the Giants this week in Week 12. All right, 2 other pretty public sides here. These 2 were close seconds, so they're both the public is heavy on the Detroit Lions, and we'll do that one first. The other game goes late. This is an early game at 1 o'clock Eastern. Detroit minus the 7.5, and not a surprise. Lions have just been a fantastic moneymaker now for the past 4 seasons of their head coach, Dan Campbell. I mentioned the stat last week, 44-18. Well, they're now 45-18 against the spread since he took over 4 seasons ago. And boy, the public was on Detroit last week, and they did not have to sweat it. 2 touchdown favorite against Jacksonville. They scored touchdowns on their first 7 drives of the game en route to an incredible 52-6 win as a 2 touchdown favorite. Now, they were coming off a win on Sunday Night Football, but it wasn't really a flat spot because it was their sloppiest game of the season. Keep in mind, this is a Detroit team that entering the Sunday night game had only 5 turnovers all season, and they had 5 turnovers alone, really 4 because one was a Hail Mary at halftime against Houston. So it was a focus spot for Detroit last week, and it showed. And I also think there's a chance Jacksonville has maybe tossed the towel this season with Mac Jones at quarterback. It was ugly. Detroit is now 45-18 against the spread with Dan Campbell at the helm. And the public is now 4-1 this season when they back them like they did last week. So not a surprise to see the public once again on Detroit. And also not a surprise to see them fading the Indianapolis Colts. But Anthony Richardson is back under center. He did play a lot better last week. So here again, we look for catalysts. As you know, it's hard to make a case on paper for these ugly dogs. But we always look for a catalyst. And I do think there's a couple things here that could favor the Colts. First of all, Detroit's coming off that easy win. So there really isn't a focus spot here. This is a non-conference road game And then on deck, they have their home Thanksgiving game just 4 days later, next Thursday, against Chicago, a divisional opponent. They also have the Packers and Bills, Bears, 49ers, and Vikings after that. So this is actually the biggest flat spot remaining. Hey, look, it's hard to fade the Lions. They've been a money-making machine for 4 years, including this season once again, going 45-18 under Dan Campbell. But you could say on the surface, not a great spot for him this week, especially with the short week on deck. And if Anthony Richardson plays well like he did last week, the Colts could have some upside. They're coming off a nice upset win against the New York Jets. They actually had a 1-0 turnover deficit and still won that game. And keep in mind, they had 8 turnovers in their previous 3 losses before that. But they're still 3-3 straight up their last 6. So if Richardson plays halfway decent, they could be alive as a home dog of plus 7.5. And let's talk about this line once again. Look-ahead line a week ago was 6.5 to 7, and now it's 7.5, crossing over that key number of 7. In fact, there's about a 4 to 5% chance that Detroit wins this game by exactly 7 points. So the difference between 6.5 a week ago and now 7.5 has given the Colts about a 5% better chance of covering. That's another reason why fading the public does start to work better here in late November, the second half of the season. Very similar to that game we just talked about with the Giants getting almost a field goal more of line value compared to last week. So once again, Detroit Lions, once again, a very public play in Week 12. And the other most public play this week in Week 12 on Sunday is a late afternoon game, and that goes at 4 o'clock Eastern, 4:05 Eastern to be exact, in Las Vegas. The public is on the Denver Broncos laying the points against the Raiders. Denver currently -6. Last week I cashed an easy best bet for my clients on the Broncos. We also had them the week before against Kansas, or 2 weeks before that, 2 weeks ago, the week before against Kansas City. So back-to-back best bet wins for my clients on against Kansas City, against Atlanta. We've had Denver now 2 straight weeks as client plays. So obviously I'm not in a hurry to fade them, especially with the hapless Raiders who enter this game off of 6 straight losses in a row. Just lost to Miami by 15, lost to Cincy by 17. In fact, you look at the recent losses, 5 of those last 6 losses have all come by a touchdown or more, by 7 or more points. So really hard to trust the Raiders here, catching only 6 points. But once again, like the other games I've talked about, this is a line adjustment. In fact, the look-ahead line a week ago was -3. Now it's -6. So just see a difference between just 1 week has pushed this line from 3 to 6. You know, it's hard to imagine the markets were really off by that much a week ago, but Denver goes out and wins by 32 against Atlanta. And, of course, the Raiders lose by double digits at Miami. And now the line instead of 3 is 6. So, although I've been on Denver 2 weeks in a row, it's hard to say there's much line value left now when it was -3 and now it's -6. So that's the theme with all 3 of these very public plays this week, is that you've given up substantial line value just 1 week later. We'll see if it ends up biting any of these favorites. But once again, hard to make a case for these ugly dogs, especially a team like the Raiders, who do have a history of tossing the towel at times. They've lost 6 straight and now 7 of their last 8 games overall. Those are your 3 official public plays here for Week 12 in the NFL. In the early card, once again, the most public play of the week, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers -6. And then on the early card, also the Detroit Lions -7.5. And on the late card, the Denver Broncos -6. And once it goes, all 3 of those have covered several key numbers compared to what the look-ahead line was just 1 week ago. Got to get to 2 bonus games for you real quick here on the way out, and then also very special offers for you, how to get the rest of the football season for about $5 a day. That's coming up in just a moment, so stay tuned. Let's look at 2 additional public leans. These weren't quite as strong as the 3 official public plays, but public is definitely leaning also on the Kansas City Chiefs -11. That's no surprise, as they've been fading Carolina for several seasons now. What's interesting, though, is the look-ahead line on this was 11.5 last week. Now it's only 11. So this is actually a situation the line's a little bit lower, and that, of course, is because Carolina has been playing good football, although they did not play last week. I guess the market has downgraded Kansas City a little bit because they lost at Buffalo. If anything, you can make an argument this is a more focused spot now for the Chiefs off their first loss of the season. But they do have a short week on deck as well, as they have the Friday game next week against the Raiders. A Friday afternoon game, I believe, next week against the Raiders. So it's a little bit of a short spot here, back-to-back road trips. And Carolina is playing better. Bryce Young's QB ratings have been better than his season average in each of the last 4 starts since he was benched mid-season. So since Young has come back, he's played better than he's played before he was benched. Maybe some random variance there, because if you look at the opponents faced, Giants, Saints, Commanders, not great defensive teams there. So this is a pretty big step up against the Chiefs, especially considering they're coming off a loss. But with that said, Kansas City still, with only one loss this season, 9-1 straight up, they've only won 2 of those 9 games by more than 7 points. So this is a big number to lay, but the public doesn't care. They're leaning towards Kansas City minus 11 at 1 o'clock Eastern. And then the other public lean also, not an official public play, but the public also lean towards the Minnesota Vikings once again. In fact, the Vikings were the most public play on the board last week. In fact, the last 3 weeks, every week in November so far, the Vikings have been a very public play on for the general betting public. This week, a little bit lighter, but it's still an additional lean I wanted to point out to you. And the public, of course, has cashed 2 of those last 3 weeks with Minnesota. Vikings have gone 3-0 straight up, 2-1 ATS so far this month. They have Arizona on deck next Sunday. Back at home. This is their 3rd straight road game, though, in 3 weeks. So not a great scheduling spot for Minnesota. 3rd straight road game, 3 weeks without rest. Not something you hardly see anymore in the modern NFL. So we'll see how that affects the Vikings. And the Bears, of course, the public was on Green Bay last week playing against Chicago. Bears covered, but really could have won that game outright. Late missed field goal, lost by 1 as a 6-point dog. And I mentioned last week, of all the public dogs, I thought Chicago did have a little bit of a catalyst with Thomas Brown as a new offensive coordinator. I also pointed out in this video last week, look at some running back props over for Chicago, and boy, did that work out. They had 179 rushing yards. You know, Brown's a former NFL running back. He was the coordinator of Carolina last year, so that obviously doesn't bode well. But he does like to run the ball, and I think that'll take some of the pressure off rookie quarterback Caleb Williams. Chicago did look better offensively last week, and they were also threw for 212 yards, ran for 179. So they gained almost 400 total yards with that run-based attack. Really a balanced offense. So maybe that was the buy sign with Chicago. Once again, Minnesota, 3rd road game in 3 weeks. Public doesn't care, though. They're leaning towards the Vikings once again this week. Minnesota currently about a 3.5-point favorite, too. So once again, get up a little bit of line value. But this is another situation where the line is lower than last week. The look-ahead line last week was 5. Chicago looked better than expected. Now it's just 3.5. But once again, 3, of course, is the very key number. Doesn't look like it's going to drop there with the public leaning towards the favorite. Interesting, the 3 official public plays, the lines have moved several points. The 2 additional leans on Kansas City and Minnesota, the lines are actually a little bit lower than they were a week ago. All right, that's the most public action in Week 12 this Sunday, November the 24th. Comment below and let me know your thoughts on these games, where you agree or disagree, where you think you should play or fade with the public. I read the comments. I reply back. Also, thumbs up, like if you're finding these videos useful. Subscribe and click that bell for instant alerts when all these videos and shows go live every day here on WagerTalk TV. Now, we don't just blindly fade the public. We don't back them all the time either. They've done well overall this season. I use this as a filter, part of my overall handicapping arsenal. As you know, I'm very selective with personal best bets. I average maybe 1 to 3 best bets a night. Saturdays and Sundays, you know, during football and basketball season, 3 to 4 plays sometimes. But on average, about 1 to 3 plays per day. And its selectivity has paid off. In fact, over the last 365 days, I'm up 170 units all sports. That's a 170% increase in bankroll, because I rate everything as percentage of bankroll. My official best bets are 4% plays. I have maybe 1 to 3 per night. My point is, if you had a $10,000 bankroll, you added $17,000 to it in the past year, you're now up to $27,000. You do the math, take your bankroll, multiply it by 1.7, and that's what you would have won in the past year. Never too late to get on board. I'm handicapping every day. I've been doing this every day for the past 29 years as a full-time professional. And right now, with promo code SM365, you can get the next full year for just about $1 per play. It's an excellent investment opportunity. It's an instant $811 discount off the normal 1-year all-access pass with promo code SM365, and it works out to just over $1 a play for every football, basketball, college and pro, and baseball best bet. 5 sports, all for one price for about over $1 per play with promo code SM365. Now, if you want football only, nothing wrong with that. I know we have a lot of football viewers. This is obviously a football video. Very special offer this weekend only for the rest of the football season, just $3.99. And no, you don't have to decide between college or pro. That's both combined for $3.99. That's just $199 and a half each for the rest of the college and pro football seasons. That's 3 more months of action into February with the Super Bowl. You're going to get all the college football playoffs, which go into late January now with the extended playoff format, all the bowl games, college football, NFL playoffs, and of course the rest of college and pro football regular season, including Thanksgiving next week, probably the biggest and most popular week of the football season. Not too late to get on board right now. $3.99 gets you the rest of college and pro football combined through the Super Bowl in February, and there is no promo code needed. Couldn't be simpler. Works out to about $5 a day. Go to my page right now, Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Right below the daily best bets, the daily free play. That's right. Check out those daily free plays. You'll see the $3.99 football season special. Or if you want that all-access one-year Big Daddy, the best investment approach that gets all sports every day, make sure you use promo code SM365 at checkout for the one-year all-access to get it down to just about $1 per play. Don't have to memorize the promo codes or special offers. They're listed right now on my page. And when you go there, be sure to check out the best bets. I recap every best bet every night, a rolling last 20 recaps. You see about the last week and a half's worth of best bets are up there right now. Win or lose, I don't hide anything. Win or lose, every best bet is posted afterwards, and you can click on any best bet to read the analysis afterwards as well. And I highly recommend doing this because you get a feel for how I handicap, and you'll probably learn something along the way. And oh yeah, daily free plays. I post a free play each and every day, almost each and every day. I went back and looked. Heading into the weekend, I'd posted 286 free plays so far this calendar year. It's a great way to build your bankroll. You know, when I'm selective, 1 to 3 best bets a night, that free play is usually the last cut, so it has some value as well. If you're new to sports betting or if you're new to WagerTalk.com, I highly recommend going to my page on a daily basis. Check out the best bet recap every night. Click on the analysis and read about the best bets afterwards. And also get that free play, that bonus free play every day. And then when you're ready to get on board and join my personal best bet service, use one of those promo codes or special offers that are listed on the page right now. It's quite simple. If I have a play, my clients get it. I have one set of selections, my personal best bets. Every client gets it emailed to them directly with analysis every day. You can also log into the website and get them instantly when they're posted. 1 day, 1 month, 1 year, doesn't matter. Every client gets the same play I'm personally using each day, and I've won consistently now for 29 straight years as a full-time professional handicapper. And over the past year alone, up 170 units, and going back a couple months before that to the start of last football season, up 220 units combined, all sports profit, WagerTalk.com. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com. Hey, get there quicker with shortcut WT.buzz/SM. Follow me on X and Instagram on social media at Steve Merril, 2 R's, 1 L. You know the deal, 2 R's, 1 L, at Steve Merril on X and Instagram. And once again, comment below. Let me know your thoughts on these NFL games Sunday, where you agree or disagree with the public. Include some teasers if you like them, 6-point teasers. We didn't talk about those today. Player props. I love the player props. And by the way, I did release a free player prop for Sunday in a solo video here on the channel in that Cowboy Commanders game. I've also got a spotlight video for your Eagles-Rams Sunday night game and your Ravens-Chargers Monday night game. We talked about 5 games here. That's 3 more games I'm breaking down for you for free here on Wager Talk TV. If you're liking these free play videos, comment below, let me know, and I will keep them coming. And be sure to click the thumbs up like button. The more likes, the more comments, the more videos I do each and every day for you here on Wager Talk TV. Don't forget about those Thursday night NFL videos. We cashed again this week with the over in the Steelers-Browns game. Now 9-1 on the free Thursday night NFL videos. I decided back in week 3 I was going to do every Thursday night game, basically every Sunday and Monday night game for you as well. And since then, those Thursday nighters have gone 9-1. A little bit of a dilemma this week with Thanksgiving. We got 3 NFL games on Thursday. Do I dare put that record on the line and handicap all 3 of them? You know me, I probably will for you. So be sure to check back this week for the Thursday Thanksgiving specials. And also be sure to click subscribe and click that bell so you get an instant alert. And you'll know when these videos are posted instantly each day here, these free play videos on Wager Talk TV. Thanks for watching. As always, comment below. Let me know your thoughts on this Week 12 NFL card. Enjoy the games. Best of luck. And I'll talk to you again soon here. In the meantime, stay tuned. There's plenty more free content coming up right here on Wager Talk TV.